We're here in the American Center Library at the U.S. Embassy, and Rahat and I would like to learn about the National Hispanic Heritage Month from Economics Officer Veronica. National Hispanic Heritage Month is a time for us to recognize the contributions of Americans whose ancestors come from many different countries, including Spain, Latin America, and the Caribbean. And this is a time for us to recognize the diversity of the United States and really celebrate that. So thanks for coming, Veronica.
Sure. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Rahat, for inviting me to talk about Hispanic Heritage Month and what it means for me. I'm Mexican American, and many of the personalities that we'll talk about today have influenced my decision to pursue a career of public service. But as you mentioned, it's also really important to recognize the diversity of the United States and of the Hispanic American community as well.
So Veronica, could you please tell us some of the important Hispanic individuals who have contributed to America's history?
Sure. I think a good place to start is within the U.S. government itself, particularly the U.S. Supreme Court. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor is the first Hispanic American to be appointed to the court, and she's actually only the third woman to hold the charge. That's really interesting given that the court itself has been around for about 230 years.
Right, and I remember when she got appointed to the Supreme Court, she was definitely a role model for many young women as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Veronica, were there any important Hispanic journalists in the United States?
Yes, Jorge Ramos comes to mind. He is a national broadcaster for one of the largest Latin American Spanish language television stations, and he's a mainstay in many Latino homes, including my own growing up.
What about important athletes who've influenced American history?
I'm most familiar with Roberto Clemente. He was a trailblazer in baseball. He was born in Puerto Rico and played for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 1930s. He won several baseball accolades and led his team to 2 World Series titles. Right. He was later inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
So what about civil rights leaders?
You may be familiar with Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta. They were both prominent union leaders and organized many of the farm workers in the American Southwest. They co-founded a prominent organization known as the United Farm Workers Union, and a recent documentary about Dolores Huerta has really brought to light her contribution to the labor movement.
Could you tell us about perhaps a Hispanic who has influenced the sciences?
We can talk about Ellen Ochoa. She was born in Los Angeles and was the first American Hispanic woman to go to space. She also worked at one of our primary research labs and served as the director to the Johnson Space Center. She was the first Latina to do that as well. And through her speaking engagements, she also encourages women to consider careers in the STEM fields.
It's great to learn about all the diversity and the important contributions that Hispanics have made to American history.
Well, thank you for having me today, and you have a great number of resources here.